We the humans are simply not the only logical animals. We are also the illogical ones. We use ideas, explanations and theories to make sense of things, but we also use these to negate and misconceive. We reason and we rationalize. One such way we rationalized is theorized as the broken window fallacy. What is a fallacy, you may ask? A fallacy comes from the Latin word fallere, which means to deceive or to trick. It's a failure in reasoning which renders an argument invalid. The broken window fallacy was first expressed by Frederick Bastiat in his 1850 essay, That Which Is Seen, That Which Is Unseen.
It all starts when a hooligan decides to throw a brick through the local baker's window. The community gathers at the bakery to discuss what has happened. I feel bad for that poor baker. He's lost a window. It's true, but if you stop and think about it, maybe it's not all that bad. After all, the baker does have to repair his window, which means the glazier will now have work to do. After getting paid, the glazier will probably spend his new income on some of your crops. Then you'll have income to spend on even more goods and services. You're right. The hooligan has actually stimulated the economy. Imagine how many more jobs would have been created if the hooligan had done more damage.
Now here, the premises are that first, the glass vendor got paid for his services, which is a fact. And the second is that money got circulated in the economy, which is again a fact. And the claim here is that because of the above said premises, breaking of the window is not a loss. This is a logically derived argument, but there are hidden assumptions. The assumption here is that the resources that were used in repairing of the window were sitting idle. But that is rarely the case. Resources are always allocated from one task to another, from one activity to another. Maybe the baker was saving money to buy shoes for his son, or he needed new equipment for the bakery. There is no net increase in wealth whatsoever. On one hand, we see the opportunity, but we ignore the unintended consequences of these new sequences of events. We overvalue the gain and devalue the losses which have incurred. This fallacy deals with the illusion that the money spent in recovering from destruction is a net benefit to the society. So recently I came across a live example of the same fallacy. I unfortunately had an accident. The insurance covered around 70% of the repair costs, but 30% were to be borne by me. My friends were happy that the 70% got saved, but what they failed to see is that those 30% could have been used to maybe buy a gift for my mother. This fallacy goes far beyond looking for the silver lining, making the best of the situation. It is the incorrect assumption that the net benefit is positive. There is this wave of thought which states that natural disasters, wars, and other destructive events can boost the economy through the rebuilding work. After the Uri attacks, the country was swayed by a patriotic wave. The surgical strikes were applauded, and they were supporters of war for the sole reason of teaching Pakistan a lesson. One must ask how war is a good idea. A lot of people die. A lot of money which could have been used for development is used to protect the borders. How does war really benefit the economy? And let's not forget, the funding would happen through a combination of increased taxes, decreased expenditure for developments of infrastructure, agriculture, etc., and an increased debt of the state. An important play in economics is injecting of money into public work schemes by the government to create jobs. The government no more creates jobs than a broken window does. In order to get money to make the roads, the government will have to increase taxes. That money, those jobs, could have easily been deployed elsewhere. Paying people to dig and refill holes paying people to dig and refill ditches. Paying people to dig and refill ditches will provide them with jobs. They will spend that money on goods and services. Money will be circulated in the economy. But from where does the government get the money to pay them? Taxes? After demonetization, India was expected to grow at 7% for the financial year. Before demonetization, this percentage was 7.6. Given the small decline in the growth percentage, supporters of demonetization claim that there has been a limited negative impact. But this is what can be seen. What about that cannot be seen? The informal sector of Indian economy.